Rain fell heavily that evening, blurring the shapes of people and trucks at the military base. Everything felt distant, as if time had slowed down on purpose. Meher stood at the edge of the camp, holding tightly onto Arev's hand. Her knuckles were pale from how hard she gripped him, but she didn't want to let go. Arev, in full uniform, tried to keep his voice steady. "It's just a mission. Routine. I'll be back before your next birthday," he said with a small smile. But the fear in Meher's eyes said she didn't believe him. Not fully. He reached into his shirt and pulled out a silver pendant he always wore, a lucky charm. It was simple, just a flat coin on a chain, worn from years of being held in prayers. He unclasped it and gently placed it around Meher's neck. "As long as you have this," he whispered, "I'm still with you." She nodded, too choked to speak. He kissed her forehead. And then he turned around and walked away, his boots splashing in the muddy ground, leaving her behind in the pouring rain. That was the last time Meher saw him for 6 long years. At first, she waited patiently. Letters arrived for the first few weeks, short, rushed, filled with little things like, "I'm okay," and "Tell Amma not to worry." But then the letters stopped. Calls went unanswered. Months passed. Then one day, a letter from the military arrived. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Her father read it aloud because she couldn't. Lieutenant Arev Sharma missing in action. Presumed dead. The world fell apart in that one sentence. Meher locked herself in her room for days. She didn't speak, didn't eat. She clutched the silver pendant at her neck and wept silently into her pillow every night. There was no funeral, no body, just the echo of what used to be. But one person remained constant, Kabir. Arev's best friend, his brother in everything but blood. He didn't flood her with sympathy. He didn't try to say, "Everything will be okay." He just stayed, quiet, present. He helped Meher's father with hospital visits, paid the electricity bills when no one else noticed, took care of her younger brother's school fees, not to impress her, just because Arev would have done the same. Meher never noticed exactly when his presence became comforting. Maybe it was the way he never pressured her to move on. Maybe it was how he remembered Arev's death anniversary and left flowers without a name. Or how he sat with her on Diwali when everyone else was out celebrating. 2 years later, Kabir finally spoke. "I know I can never be him," he said softly, "but I'd like to walk beside you. If you ever want someone to share this life with, I'll be here." She didn't say yes immediately. Her grief was still there, curled inside her like a permanent ache. But slowly, she found herself smiling again. Not every day, not easily, but enough. They got married in a simple ceremony. No big celebrations, just close family and quiet vows. Meher wore a pale pink sari. Kabir wore a white kurta. No one mentioned Arev out loud, but his presence was there in the pendant still around Meher's neck, hidden under the blouse. She never took it off. Kabir never asked her to. They built a home together. A small apartment on the 2nd floor with yellow curtains and mismatched furniture. It wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful. And peace, after grief, feels like a miracle. 3 years into the marriage, the doorbell rang one afternoon. Kabir opened the door and time stopped. There, on the threshold, stood a thin, bearded man in torn clothes, skin darker from sun and dirt, eyes wild and tired, but unmistakable. "Arev," Kabir whispered. He nodded slowly. "Where's Meher?" Kabir couldn't speak. He stepped aside, heart pounding, guilt rising in waves. Meher was setting the dining table when she heard the voice behind her. She turned. Plates slipped from her hands and shattered on the floor. There he was, alive. The room spun. She stared at him for a long, silent moment, then took a step forward, then stopped. He looked at her, eyes filled with longing and betrayal. "I didn't die," he said hoarsely. "Why did you act like I did?" Her voice trembled. "I waited. I prayed. For years. But there was no word, no body, nothing. They told us you were gone. You never came back." "I tried," he whispered. "I was in a prison camp no one knew. I survived, only to come back to this." She looked away. Kabir entered the room slowly. Arav, I didn't plan this. I never tried to take your place. Arav laughed bitterly. But you did, didn't you? You married her. I loved her after losing you. And I never hid that from her, Kabir said. The air in the room was thick with pain. No one slept that night. Arav sat alone on the roof, under the open sky, holding an old photograph he'd carried through war and prison of the three of them in college, smiling, arms around each other. He stayed up till dawn, thinking, crying, breaking. The next morning, he stood in the living room with a small wooden box in his hand. He gave it to Kabir. These are the letters I wrote, he said. In the camp. Most never made it out, but this one is for her. Kabir opened the box and saw a stack of old, crumpled letters. One envelope was newer. Meher read the letter that night. If I don't come back, live. Love again. Don't let my name become your prison. I want you to be happy, even if it's not with me. Her hands shook as she folded it. Arav looked at her, eyes full of tired peace. You chose life, and you chose someone I trusted with my life. Maybe that's not betrayal. Maybe that's fate. He walked toward the door. Where will you go? Kabir asked. I don't know, Arav said. But I know you'll take care of her. You already have. He left quietly, with no drama, just like that. Years passed. One rainy evening, Meher sat in her room and opened the box again. She pulled out the final letter and read it slowly. If you have moved on, then I am with you, still not in your past, but in your freedom. You were never mine to keep. You were always meant to live. She smiled through her tears. From the living room, she heard Kabir laugh playing with their son. She got up, stood at the door, and watched them. The boy looked up and waved. Kabir turned to see her, eyes soft with love. She touched the pendant at her neck. Sometimes, love doesn't end. It just returns in a different way. And sometimes, letting go is the bravest kind of love there is.